My name is Bond.
James Bond.
Shaken, not stirred.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
I'm now aiming precisely at your groin.
That's not funny, 007.
For England, James? No.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the BondVerse, where we're going through every single movie starring the titular James Bond, Jamathan Bond. I'm your host Kyle and I'm joined as always by my wonderful co-host Nathan. Say hello.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm a newcomer to the franchise, just like our actor this week. We got a
yes, a weird, a strange choice, up and comer. You know,
we got
it coming.
We got a plucky actor to take in Bond for this film, and actually, very brave of them because people got really attached to George Lazenby.
Yeah, you know, and it's such a hard act to follow up on Lazenby. You know, he really cemented his place in that role.
Yeah, he really planted a flag and defined what this character could be, and never will
Married.
be.
Yeah.
A married man. Yeah, a mourning man.
I mean, let me tell you, this James Bond is not married, that's for sure.
This James Bond has never wore a piece of jewellery in his life.
Yes, of course, we're talking about Sean Connery. It's a strange new guy, but, you know, let's give him a shot.
Let's give him a shot. I think there's some potential in this guy.
I agree.
This is good old Scottish kid, you know?
Yes, no. We're talking about Diamonds Are Forever. That's still technically not the last movie starring Sean Connery.
Yeah, technically not, but also technically in the official canon, yes?
Yes. We'll get into it eventually.
Yeah, we'll get into it eventually. But this is Sean Connery's in and out return. Diamonds Are Forever. 1971, we were so close, Kyle, to getting a Bond movie that released in a year ending in 0.
Not yet.
Not yet. And we're going to get through all of these and it's still not going to have happened. I got a spoiler for you. People were super excited for...
The next Bond movie's coming out 2030, mark my words.
People were super excited for No Time to Die because its original release date was for 2020.
This is a big deal though. This is our first decade shift. We're in the 70s now.
We are in the 70s.
And let me tell you, you can tell. My goodness. It's honestly amazing how 2 years can make all the difference. All the fashion is suddenly all 70s. We've switched from the bright colours to everyone's wearing beige now. It's beige everywhere.
Yeah, we're having a wartime rebirth here. It's all trendy again. Everyone's in khaki.
Yeah, so this movie is strange, man. This is a real weird one.
I think
not so much in like how it's like done or not like what it's about, but just like the way it's portrayed. This is the most openly comedic one we've done so far.
Yeah, this is the funniest James Bond movie I think ever made.
I mean, this is a comedy, like genuinely.
But it's kind of like a hidden comedy. I think if you're not paying attention, you might just go, "Oh yeah, it's just a Bond film." But no, this has got some yucks.
This has some yucks, has some gags.
There's lots of bits. I mean, listen, we're very familiar with Bond and his bits. You know,
every character has bits in this movie. It's not just Bond.
Every character's got bits in this movie. Yeah.
And this opening, which is edited like a madman.
This
Blofeld has bits.
This opening gave me whiplash.
Honest to God, Nathan. Okay, so as you know, I'm watching this because it's not on Amazon anymore through completely legal means.
Yes,
And I had to double check that I was watching a correct version and not some sort of weird re-edited cut. But no, the movie's just like that.
That is amazing. So it feels like we're trying to wrap up the end of Her Majesty's Secret Service in another film.
Yes.
Like, okay, my wife's been shot. We're just going to go on a hunt down for where's Blofeld. We're going to have... We're going around the world, you know.
It's like the opening of Endgame, Nathan, where they go and quickly kill Thanos in the first 5 minutes.
That's a brilliant comparison, Kyle, actually. This is, some would say, the Avengers Endgame of the Bond franchise.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, it has a happy ending with our hero. He's on the deck of a ship, dancing with his lady.
Indeed.
Brilliant. But,
well,
Kyle,
yes.
we waste no time here, because we get our name is Bond, James Bond, from the first 30 seconds.
Yes. And then he strangles a woman with her own bikini.
This is honestly a greatest hits of the Connery era, because we were getting bad ADR of a man screaming Cairo at Bond, where he's like, "Where is Blofeld?" and his mouth clearly doesn't say Cairo, but Cairo's the audio we hear. The guy at the poker table says, "Hit me," and Bond punches him.
Yep.
Like, we don't have time, Kel. We're doing just the hits. We're doing the classics, you know? Blofeld looking suspiciously different again, though, Kyle, isn't he?
Well, he's looking suspiciously similar, and you teased this a few weeks ago, but it's what's his face from...
It's Mr. Henderson!
It's Mr. Henderson, yes.
Yeah, which, when I alluded to maybe seeing this actor again, what did you think?
I had my suspicions that he was going to be Blofeld, I'll be honest.
Right, okay. But it's crazy, right?
The transition between the last three movies of Blofeld is insane. Like, did audiences just accept this as, like, these three completely different men are supposed to be the same guy?
See, Blofeld is all about the costume. It's all about that sort of high collar beige outfit, you know?
And the cat, obviously.
And the cat. You know, the face is immaterial. We even start with him having, like, plastic surgery walls around, because little do we know that's for the reveal that he's getting doubles made of him.
I thought that was... Okay, maybe I'm an idiot, or maybe I'm not an idiot, maybe I'm super smart, but I thought it was insanely obvious that he was having body doubles made.
I thought that this was for... You know how for the last one where he was pretending to be, like, a count?
Mm-hmm.
He had, like, had surgery or something, he'd cut his earlobes off. I thought it was like...
he's pretending to be Mr. Henderson.
Yes, or they were trying to justify the recast once more, like in a really weak way. But then he does say, like, "Oh, he would have been me soon enough," or something like that. And I thought it meant that that's like the person whose look he's stealing, and they were just going to acknowledge that, like, "Oh yeah, this is why he looks different," and we're going through a few different models. But no, it's for doubles. And Bond picks this guy up, throws him down, bolts him to a chair or a bed, and rolls him into some hot Sontaran mud baths.
It is a hot Sontaran mud bath, yes.
Remember that episode of Doctor Who with Martha and Donna, and they've got that little weird bubble bath in the basement that makes clones?
Very, very vaguely. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what came to mind when I thought of this. It's like a weird white mannequin monster that comes out, and then they make a clone of evil Martha.
Well, first of all, he drowns the random other guy who's in the mud bath, and then Blofeld comes in and says, "Making mud pies 007?" And it's like, okay, I guess so. That's not really a thing, but sure.
It's what I'm doing, Blofeld. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think this is also quite a rizzy Blofeld. I quite enjoy him. Like Terry Savalas, Kojak, you know, Lex Luthor.
He was action Blofeld. This is more of a sassy Blofeld.
Yeah, this is sassy. This is Sassfeld.
Sassfeld, yeah. Maybe it's like, you remember that comic book twist where there was like three Jokers? Is this the three Blofelds?
The three yeah. I am Spartacus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're making mud baths or mud pies, sorry. And the next guest into those mud baths is going to be Blofeld himself via a strap and a bed, rolling at speed into hot mud, I guess, that burned him alive or something. I'm not quite clear.
Yeah, it seems to kill him instantly. Yes.
Yeah, it's like he touches it and just dies, and then you see his like shoes sink away into the mud.
Uh-huh.
And then the cat's very upset by this.
Welcome to hell, Blofeld.
Yeah, is that a bit?
I don't know.
Or just a
I
statement?
think it's just you know, it's weird though, because like, you would imagine this has some serious personal stakes for James Bond. This man killed his wife, Nathan.
Yes, absolutely. Not that that's ever mentioned.
No, but like, he's very casual about this murder. He's making quips about it. You think he'd be like, finally, my revenge, you know?
Yeah, I've been, this is like what I've been building my life for. This is the moment he retires, surely.
Yeah, I spent the last 2 years hunting for this guy.
But
because I assume that montage is supposed to reflect like a long time of searching for Blofeld, because he's in Japan and then he's in Cairo, right? He's been on the hunt for a while.
If you want to ignore Lazenby, you could say that he's been hunting for him since Thunderball, or since You Only Live Twice.
Well, yes, because it does start in Japan. I did notice that.
Yeah, that it could be that this has been him hunting him since 1967 or whenever that was.
And all this stuff with Lazenby really was just another fella. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so we should say that this is where we break into the Shirley Bassey theme, Diamonds Are Forever, with the cat's diamond collar. The cat doesn't like what happened to Blofeld. Great song, fan of the titles.
The real big return of this movie.
Yeah, the real aura of the Riz of Bond has come with Shirley Bassey. We're so happy to have her back. But when we do return to the film from the opening titles, Kyle, we're with M.
Yep.
And, M's like, Blofelder's dead now, Bond, and we're going to meet somebody who's like, he knows the Prime Minister to brief them on diamonds that are going missing.
Yeah,
and they're like,
some rich British politician of some variety, lord something, I think.
And they're like, did you enjoy your holiday, Bond? And there's other quips about Bond saying, do we know much about the place we're going to? And M's like, we can't function in your absence, Commander. And I can't tell if all these, like, did you enjoy your holidays and all that is quips at Connery for leaving.
Do you think they're that meta about it?
We do function in your absence, Commander. It's like, we don't need you for this franchise, actually. Like, thanks for leaving, jackass.
But surely the fact that he's back is kind of proof that they didn't, because, people didn't exactly respond well to On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
I mean, yeah. But they're going to be stiff upper lipped about it, They're not. They're going to little tongue in cheek it. It's a bit like how this didn't happen to the other guy and all that.
Yeah. Once again, we failed in our due diligence. I don't know why Connery left, and I don't know why he came back again. I guess a big pile of money is probably the answer, right?
Big pile of money would be my guess, Kyle. That's why I would come back. Yeah.
Because this is not like a sort of dramatic return. This is very much just more James Bond.
Yeah, this is like matter of fact, hello, it's me. I don't think they really hide his face at all. I think at first they maybe do for like a couple of frames.
Yeah.
Because this movie really starts with someone getting thrown through a paper wall right at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
But in comes Sean Connery right to bring up the rear guard to punch that guy again. And
he's starting to look like, at this point, he's been doing this for a decade, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, when was Doctor No? 1962?
1962, yeah, it's been 9 years since Doctor No.
And you know what? You're starting to see it, in my opinion. I think
he's got some grey coming in.
Those grey temples are definitely appearing. But for this film, he kind of pulls it off. He's wearing a lot more velvet jackets in this movie, I'm noticing.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks like he's aging.
Sean Connery, he's a professional. He does his best.
He absolutely does his best, and it is insane that he's still got another Bond in the tank after this.
Yes.
Official or otherwise,
So, where does he first go? Because, MI6, they're looking for missing diamonds, because they cut to some stock footage of a diamond mine where there's, like,
South
people
Africa.
trying to smuggle out the diamonds, right?
Yeah, they, put little cuttings into their
Oh, right, and during
mouth.
this briefings, we meet our two, lead henchmen of the movie, who are insane characters.
Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
Okay, it's I thought it was Mr. Win, but okay.
No, I watched this film with subtitles on. It's W-I-N-T. But, I should
Do you want to explain their deal, Nathan?
Well, can I quickly mention that Mr. Wint, the actor who plays him, is the father of Crispin Glover.
I can see that.
Who you would know as the father of Marty McFly in Back to the Future and various other things. Just wanted to bring it up because I've got a few people in this film I want to bring up some fun facts about.
Okay.
But yeah, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd are like... Do they ever say the word Spectre in this film?
No, I don't think they do.
No, I didn't think so either.
It's just Blofeld operation now.
Yeah, but they're like Spectre goons that specifically are just working as a duo that are trying to smuggle diamonds to America from South Africa, but everyone that they're kind of employing to do it, they kill when the job's done.
They're like Blofeld's fixers, I guess.
Yeah, they've got their own little jazzy theme, Kyle, completely disconnected from the motif
They've
of the
got
rest
their
of the
own
film.
theme. They complete each other's sentences. They have all their little quips where it's like, oh, I don't know about this, Mr. Kidd. Oh, I think that's for sure, Mr. Wint, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, or they make puns later on when there's the cremation happening.
They hold hands as they're walking away into the sunset, which is an insane detail.
Yeah, I love these two characters.
Yes. I mean, let's not call it. It's very heavily implied that they are in a romantic relationship, shall we say.
Some form of romantic relationship.
Because there's a gag later where it's like, that woman seems very attractive for a woman, because the other one, he seems really jealous when he says that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For the 70s, this must have been incredibly progressive.
What? I mean, they're the villains, though. They're like the snively, weird villains.
It's true, but they're also very efficient. They're not like bumbling buffoons, No,
that's true. They are quite effective.
Yes, so... Oh, no, Bond's first stop is not South Africa. They talk about the diamonds in South Africa, but he is going to Holland, which is where the little old lady in South Africa is smuggling diamonds to for Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
Right.
Because they go to that child orphanage or something where this lady's reading them stories from the Bible.
Yes.
And then she opens the Bible, it's got a big cutout in it, and they place a little bag of diamonds.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, the children would love pictures from Holland. So, of course, when we get to Holland, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd kill her, and then when she's getting fished out of the canals, they take pictures of her being fished out of the canals and go, well, she did say the kids would want pictures.
How thoughtful of you, Mr. Kidd, yes.
They're doing bits. I love it. I love it. Grim tourist sites, though. Very grim tourist. Oh, and how does Bond get there, Kyle? How does he get to Holland?
Okay. Bond goes under the disguise of, Peter Franks? That's his cover identity, right? He steals the identity of this other guy who's like a transport engineer or something, who is also, consultant. I believe, part of this operation. He's the next guy that's supposed to pick up the diamonds. He
is, and probably die, I assume.
Yes, probably get killed by the two musketeers, yeah.
But when we get... Kyle, we need to stop and talk about this, Kyle.
Oh, of
Bond
course, yes.
needs to go through passport control to get on the hovercraft.
Uh-huh.
Because it's the 70s and hovercrafts were all the rage, and it's like got the British Transport logo on it. Like, that was the way to go. The hovercraft was cool. But who is running passport control?
For reasons beyond me, it's Miss Moneypenny.
It's Miss Moneypenny. And she's quite stern. I think she would stop the boats, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
She's making marriage jokes about what would she like back from Holland,
She wants a diamond ring.
Yeah, which I think, given the context of the last time you saw Bond, is quite grim, actually.
Yeah, it's maybe, I know it's been 2 years, but maybe still a bit too soon. Moneypenny,
Like, come on. Like, she's just... You saw him at his wedding 5 minutes before the death of his wife, and now you're like, oh, a diamond ring? And then Bond looks at her and kind of goes, how about a tulip? And she said she would accept that as well.
Uh-huh.
This is where he gets like his undercover bits and bobs, and then we get that really cool shot of the hovercraft. I like hovercrafts. Big commercial hovercrafts, they're very cool. They're very rare things now, you don't see them much anymore. But I think
they're really, really loud, that's why.
Yeah, they are really. Tom Scott done a video on the last operating one in the UK, I think.
Of course he did. That's such a Tom Scott video.
It was a great Tom Scott video. Everyone go watch the Tom Scott video. After you've, of course, listened to our review of Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah.
Okay, so Peter Franks, he is to meet with this lady called Tiffany Case, because she currently has the diamonds.
Yeah, she does.
And she's sort of like, she's taking chances. She's taking his fingerprints and all this. She's clearly well prepared. She's also wearing nothing, and we get one of my favourite Bond lines when she walks in wearing like a shawl. He says, "That's a nice little nothing, you're almost wearing. I approve."
Right, that's quite a nice little nothing you're almost wearing. Yeah, I've got that noted as well.
Just a nice little, clean bit of wordplay.
She keeps changing outfits and wigs and everything and clothes, and goes, oh, like you were blonde when I came in. And then she was like, oh, what's the matter, don't you like brunettes? And he says, I don't mind brunettes still, providing the collars and cuffs match.
Bond is a pig. We know this.
It's just, it's insane. It's fine. Bond, we love you.
Isn't it weird that the sexism has gotten worse as we've gone further in? It feels like we're going backwards, but this movie definitely feels the most sexist out of all of them so far.
Absolutely does feel the most sexist out of the lot, which is quite impressive. It's a feat, genuinely,
Yeah, because this is a series where we had Pussy Galore, but Pussy Galore was an empowered character,
Yeah. This is one of the strongest Bond women they ever made. So when Bond passes the fingerprint test, she goes, oh, you are Mr. Franks, you really are him. And then we cut away to Bond peeling off these little fake fingerprints that he had got made by Q.
And he's on the phone with Q like, I can't believe this actually worked, Q, but good on you.
Yeah. He's just having explained to him down the phone. We don't actually get a gadget briefing. No. It's just like, you've already got these gadgets, but what an oddly specific gadget to make. Did we know it was Mr. Franks you were going to be? I suppose you did get the passport from Miss Moneypenny.
Yeah. What's crazy about this to me, though, is that Q just says over the phone, oh yeah, that Peter Franks guy, he escaped prison and killed a guard. It's like, we didn't see that. Q just tells us that.
Oh, by the way, Bond, he's on his way to Holland right now, presumably. And Bond's just like up and out, and he comes down, he pretends to be a bumbling Dutchman.
Yes.
And he's like, and he can't get into the room, the building, because he stands outside it. And he's like, "Oh, you're Englishman, yes? You're English. I speak English. Who is your floor?" for the elevator. Mr. Franks is just very unimpressed and very courteous to the man just to get him out of his sight.
And then they have a sort of slap fight in the lift. Yeah.
It's quite a good fight, actually. They're like smashing glass and trying to like cut each other up with it. And then they get out the lift, and Miss Case is watching them go up the whole time. Of course, she thinks that Bond is Franks, so
Peter
like
Franks,
she's more
yes.
concerned with Bond. Then Bond gets a fire extinguisher, blinds him with the foam, trips him up, has him fall over the banister down to his death, and throws the fire extinguisher over the edge with him, and gets him foamed more in the face. Insult to injury.
Well,
And then
Nathan,
he goes
you just
down
killed James Bond.
Yeah. My God, you just killed James Bond. He's Bond in this moment when he goes downstairs to check that he's dead, swaps his ID. So when
I missed that detail. Okay.
Yeah, so he swaps their IDs around so that when Case goes to like inspect the wallet, because Bond's just like, "I've got no idea who this man is. He's been following me since London," or something like that. And then this is where she checks Case's or Franks's wallet and goes, "Oh my God, that's James Bond you've just killed." You know? And he goes, "Oh my God, really?" And she's like, "You know, you don't just kill James Bond and get away with it. We should probably get moving right now." You know? Bond's doing the photo. "Oh, what a shock. I've just killed James Bond." What a fighter he was.
Bond just is in love with this bit, though. He keeps it going. Like, he has the coffin loaded up on a plane, and he's now pretending that this is his brother.
Yes, he's very sad.
Like, "We were inseparable, you know."
He's really hamming up to the bit for this airline pilot that doesn't care. But this is how he's smuggling the diamonds.
Yes, the diamonds are in the coffin.
Yes, with the dead body. And when we arrive in LA, is it? Because we've got to take the diamonds to America. Felix Leiter apparently is waiting.
Felix Leiter, number 4, baby. He just looks... I haven't described it. He looks like the sheriff of a small town now.
Yeah, he looks like he belongs in a slasher film.
Yeah, he's the one who comes in up to the mansion. Is like, "What are you kids up to up here?" And then he gets murdered. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, precisely. He no swagger about him at all. He's even in airport security attire.
Yeah. This is the least... I don't know if I'd say the least suave, because the one in Goldfinger wasn't super suave either, but yeah.
But he was a nice man, had lots to do.
Why does it matter that it's Felix Leiter? Just make it a new guy. Who cares?
Just make your contact there,
It's a nothing character.
Yeah, it's name recognition, you know? But we're always going to mention it when it's Felix Leiter, right?
All those Leiter heads out there, yeah.
All those lighters. All those lighters. They're holding a vigil. But when we get there and Leiter gives him like the debrief of like, "Okay, here's what's happening, here's the situation here in America with these diamonds." Why don't they just take the diamonds into custody right then and there? I suppose
I
they're
have
trying to...
no idea. I guess they're trying to unearth the operation.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But the funeral director car is there, and for some reason, it's the mob ones. I suppose they're there to get the diamonds.
It's driven by 3 bozos from the mob, yeah.
Yeah, and one older guy, yeah. And they're all sitting in the car because they're like, "Would you like to sit in the front, Mr. Franks? Like, it's much more comfortable. Like, where the else is he going to sit?" And he's like, "I suppose I will sit there. Yes, that's fine." And they kind of slip up in the car because they're not real funeral directors. They go, you know, "Is the the deceased in the back, he was your brother, Mr. Franks?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, yes, he was, yes." And just to make small talk, I guess, this guy's like, "I have a brother." Bond's like,
"I got a brother, yeah."
Yeah. Bond's like, "Oh, it's a small world." This is insane. What?
Nathan, this perfectly describes what all small talk feels like to me. Just pointless conversation.
Yeah. But like, "Oh, I have a brother." "Oh, it's a small world." Yeah, of course. Yeah, because that means you have all this stuff in common. You both have a brother and one of them's dead now. My note and accompaniment with this might be the funniest Bond movie ever. And we're at this point. I
love that too, because like Bond and both the other mobsters both look at this guy like, "That's such a pointless thing to say. Why did you say that?"
Yeah, why
Who cares if you have a brother?
But this guy we're going to meet again, and I'll save some facts I have about this guy for later on.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to the funeral home, the main funeral director guy, who's not in the car crucially, is like, "We'll take you through to sit in the back, and here's the urn, because we've now cremated the body." And of course, as everything gets cremated, the diamonds aren't getting burned, so they fall into the ash pot. So presumably, did they just kill? Did they actually cremate Mr. Franks in there? That urn's filled with diamonds and Mr. Franks, or what?
Okay. I don't know if Mr. Franks was even in the coffin.
Oh, really? Okay, so you happen to think he wasn't even
I think
in
it was just the diamonds, because they get that, like, it takes a while to burn a body to ashes, Nathan. It takes, like, I'm going to say at least an hour before, like, you get, like,
yeah, I
but
bet.
they walk into the other room and immediately come out with the diamonds, so I don't think any burning actually went on there. I think just someone in the other room opened the coffin and scooped out the diamonds.
Right, okay. So, like, Mr. Franks, the real Mr. Franks' body's, like, in the canal in Holland or something.
Yeah, all the fake funeral stuff, that was just for show. The funeral director guy, he's in on this whole smuggling operation.
I knew he was in on it as well, but
Yeah.
I for some reason did think that through airport security and whatnot, they actually would have had a dead body in there. Just like
Maybe they did. Maybe they did,
all the
yes.
rest of
But I don't think they actually, like, burned the body in that moment.
Yeah, right, okay. But he takes it round because he's getting paid $50,000, Kyle, to take this to America, right? Mr. Franks has
Oh,
been
and sorry,
well
I
paid.
had to point out what this guy is called, by the way. This funeral director guy, his name is Morton Slumber.
Yeah, of Slumber Incorporated.
Of
Kyle.
Slumber Inc. As in,
Slumber
you know, like slumbering. But
Yep.
it's Slumber Inc. Yeah.
Brilliant, but great bits, Kyle. And we're about to get to some real hoots here, right?
Mm.
So when Bond takes the urn round to like the little cutout in the wall where you get like your name put on it and a little compartment to put the urn in, he goes round to leave it there. There's a little gold curtain, and he walks past Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd. They're like picking rose petals and putting them.
They're
on
like
a little
placing
display.
flowers, yeah.
Yeah. He walks right past them and he puts the urn in, then picks up the Slumber Inc. envelope that clearly is labelled like big buckaroos, you know?
Yes.
Big money. So he picks it up and puts it in his pocket, and then he gets beaten over the back of the head by the mobster from the car that's got the brother. And this is where Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd pick him up and drag Bond away. I was like, Christ, not every day that you see Bond get whacked. Very vulnerable of him, you know? And we cut to
Indeed.
Bond in a coffin, and it's getting hotter and hotter. It's the smoke coming out from the bottom of the shoes. The music is so dramatic, Kyle. It's like this big
Yes,
grand...
well, Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd, they start the music because they're having fun, they're doing bits.
Yeah, and they go, heartwarming, Mr. Wint. A glowing tribute, Mr. Kidd. Right? Brilliant, we're doing puns.
Bond just met his match with these two, it's true.
Yeah, that's right. It took two of them to compete with one James Bond. But it's just the music is bombastic and dramatic, and the smoke's coming out into the lining of the coffin. Bond's stuck in there. And then we do this like bang, silent smash cut to the henchman opening the casket to find Bond completely unharmed, like he wasn't even on a fire pit at all.
It's not the henchman, it's another guy.
It's not Winter Kid. It's the the guy.
Shady Tree is his name.
But this is the guy that beat him in the back of the head at the urn.
Is it? I thought it was a different guy.
I'm sure this is the same guy that beats him over the back of the head when he's putting the thing into the urn.
It might be.
Listen, it actually doesn't matter. But
No.
but the reason that I think it's him is because he looks like an old mobster, and as he opens it, he just starts shouting at Bond like Bond's the one at fault here, and he says, "You dirty double-crossing limey fink! Those goddamn diamonds are phonies." And like, what? Like, is Bond's at fault here? And then they're like, okay, well, Bond needs to live now, you know? Like, we can't kill him because he knows what the diamonds are.
I don't understand what's going on at this point. Like, those are the fake diamonds. Where are the actual diamonds at this point?
They are been taken to Vegas, I think.
But we're in Vegas right now, aren't we?
I thought we were in LA right now, my apologies. Well, I think they got swapped out by Felix.
Did they?
I think so. I think that's what happened there. Because when he goes over to Felix, I'm pretty sure there's some switcheroo here. It's like the coffin is different or something.
Right. But then how does Blofeld end up with the diamonds then? I lose track. At some point the diamonds end up with Blofeld, and I cannot remember how and when.
Yeah, it's a fair point, Kel. You've got me bang to rights there. But you dirty double-crossing limey freak. Or Fink, he says specifically. Those goddamn diamonds are phonies, and I don't know where the real diamonds were or how they ended up here. Did Case maybe have them? I'm not sure. Because Case is here for all of this. She's not actually at the crematorium, but she's still in play in the movie.
No, yeah, she shows up later in Vegas.
Yeah. Well, we're going to Vegas anyway because Bond's still on
Yeah,
the
but
case.
impressively, he still has his cover identity, which might be the longest that a cover identity has ever lasted for Bond. I guess he was the weird professor, the kooky professor last movie for quite a while.
Yeah, he was Hillary, wasn't he?
Yeah, Professor Hillary. But now he's Peter Franks.
Peter Franks, yeah.
Transport man, yeah.
Transport consultant extraordinaire. Mm-hmm.
There's some exchange where it's like, well, you gave me fake money, so I'm giving you fake diamonds or something.
Yeah. He's like, what do you mean the diamonds are fake? You gave me the fake money. Oh, because they're like, I know. And he's like, how do you know the money's fake? And he's like, because you wouldn't just burn $50,000 for no reason, you know?
Right.
Like, it's clearly fake. And he's like, I'll tell you where the real diamonds are or something like that, but like, I gotta go get them. Because then him and Plenty have to have a plan later on where they're going to go pick up the diamonds, but one of them needs to rent a car to do the exchange.
That's not Plenty. That's.
Oh, it's not Plenty.
Tiffany.
It's sorry, it is Tiffany Case. Yeah, my apologies. Plenty's. We'll get to
I haven't
Plenty.
introduced Plenty yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm reading the notes of Plenty because she's about to come up with my notes quite a lot, and then
because
never again.
Bond decides at this point to hit the casino for just because he's got some time to kill. I think.
Is maybe this where the diamonds are kept?
He believes that Mr. White is involved somehow, so he goes to the White House, spelled with a Y, because
which is
it's Mr. White.
Mr. White, and it's a big casino. When we're playing, blackjack, whatever, he's like, he's like,
Dice, I think.
Can I get $10,000, please? And the guy comes over, sees his Slumber Inc. envelope with 50 grand inside it. And he's like, this guy's line of credit is good, give him what he wants. God, here you go. And there's this.
It is literally fake money.
Yeah. And there's this really annoying lady playing the tables, trying to get in with all the rich guys.
She is so weird. We're, of course, talking about Plenty O'Toole.
What a woman. What a woman. Plenty O'Toole. Because she walks up to Bond when she sees that he's doing very well without any help from her. Because she likes to try and pick people to say, I'll help you, so that she can maybe get a couple of
when
winnings or
she's to
whatever.
Plenty O'Toole, she's talking to some sort of Elvis-looking dude who's losing.
Yeah, and then after he's like, oh, well, that's me spent. Do you want to go get a drink and come back to my room? And she's like, you're a really nice guy, you really are, but I'll see you later. I'm away.
Yeah.
And that's where Bond comes in his white tuxedo and all that, looking like $1 million. And then she sees him and goes, hi, I'm Plenty. And Bond says, I'm sure you are. Plenty O'Toole. And he goes, oh, named after your father, perhaps. God.
Plenty O'Toole's pretty bad. Plenty O'Toole's up there on the terrible Bond names scale. Yeah,
I'm in my notes here. I'm finding Plenty rather annoying. She is Plenty, frankly.
She has this sitcom way of talking, and I don't know how else to describe it. She has a sitcom accent.
Yeah, it's a sitcom American accent. She's a trailblazer for what would become very standardised in that part of the world in the next 20 years,
Yeah. Yeah,
but Bond decides, I've won all this money, you can come up to my room for a drink. She's very up for it. Because I think, honestly, Bond at this point is almost 50, maybe?
Yeah,
mid-40s?
Mid-40s, definitely.
Mid-40s, and she's clearly someone in her mid-20s, right?
Yes.
So when they get back to the room, it's actually quite uncomfortable watching them both kind of get under it. And he's a significantly looking older man.
I don't know.
This is a bit gross.
I'm so used to this at this point.
Something about this film. I just felt like this. Maybe it's the 70s attire. It hasn't aged as well. It just makes everyone look older than they did in the 60s.
That is true. Yeah, the 70s is very old men era.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And I'm finding her incredibly annoying. But thank God the film knows that she's annoying, because a bunch of men come in and start holding Bond down. They're all already in his room, and he's like, what's this about? And then Plenty's like, what's going on here, mister? I'm going to run away. And they pick up Plenty. And remember, she's topless at this point.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got friends in this town, go, And they chuck her out of the hotel room window.
It's amazing. It's a flat comedy shot if you just see her getting dumped out the window.
Yeah, right? It's so matter of fact. And then I thought that was her dead, and no, she lands in the swimming pool.
Nice shot.
Yeah, nice shot. And then he says to the henchman, I'm afraid you've caught me with more than just my hands up.
Well, no, but Bond says nice shot, and then the henchman says, I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Yeah.
It's bits on top of bits.
But yeah, they're just doing one potato, two potato over bits, and it's great. It's really, really good. So, Kel, this is the part where I'm going to bring this episode of the recording to just an absolute grinding halt.
Oh, please do.
So, the head guy here,
Mm-hmm.
if it was the mobster from the car, and I believe the guy that said that diamonds are phonies, I'm not sure. This is an actor.
No, the guy who said the diamonds are phonies gets murdered by Mr. Wynn and Mr.
Right,
Kids.
I see.
Because he's like a terrible stand-up comedian for some reason.
Yeah. So, mobster Slumber Inc. guy is what he's listed as being named on Amazon Prime's player.
Mm-hmm.
Is someone called Mark Lawrence, who is a long-time Hollywood actor. He only died in 2005 and he was born in 1910, right?
Okay.
He played the character of Volnoth, a member of the Gatherers in the third season of Star Trek The Next Generation
Oh, the
episode titled
Gatherers.
The Vengeance Factor.
Right, yes.
Right, yeah.
I definitely remember what episode
Remember,
that was.
there was like a lady in yellow that's quite strict. She's like a matron type, and then there's like the young servant girl who I think is actually responsible for all the weird powers going on. Riker falls in love with her, because of course he does. He's just like an old man that kind of doesn't do much and dies. I didn't really remember him, to be honest. I actually noticed him from another episode of Star Trek, Gal, and felt a need to, when I saw that he was in fact also in TNG, not omit the fact that he was in TNG.
Of course.
The thing I knew him from instantly when I saw him is from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 15, Bada Bing, Bada Bang. Right?
Classic episode.
I love this episode. I rewatched this episode on VHS as a child. He plays Mr. Zemo, who is the kind of big kahuna investor that's bought over Vic Fontaine's lounge in the Holosuite program.
Mm-hmm. He's basically playing the same character.
Yeah, but except in Bada Bing Bada Bang, he's like the top dog. He is like the godfather.
He's moved up in the world, yeah.
He's moved up in the world, yeah. And he comes in, he's got this, young girl next to him and all that. And again, they're gonna kill off Frankie Eyes, who's running the casino. Mm-hmm. From under Mr. Zemo. If Mr. Zemo doesn't get his money, and he's like, "Where's my money, Frankie? Where's my money? Where's my 50 grand, James Bond?" And sure enough, it's this guy, and I know him. Yeah. I know him from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I knew him from this episode,
so
and that's great.
The rest of the movie, we're expecting the crew of Deep Space Nine to run in and save James Bond. Yeah.
I was very much hoping. And that's actually the Vic Fontaine's lounge. We should say to people that aren't aware, is like a 1960s Vegas lounge.
Yes.
It's all very much of this era or earlier. So these people would all be around at the same time. It's perfect,
I would say Vic's more like 20s, isn't he?
No. That's no. This is all. You've seen the outfits they're all wearing walking around? No, Vic Fontaine's totally 1960s. I don't think Vegas really had any print in the.
Okay,
they
big
televisions and all that. Remember, and when Nog goes to move into the Holosuite, he's got TVs. Yeah, this is like it's all in the 60s.
Lots of stuff happens in Deep Space Nine. It's a good show.
Great show. Deep Space Nine is an amazing show. Enter the Deep Space Nine verse. That's what I want to do.
That would take so long.
That would take forever, Kyle. It would be so weird doing it out of order from every other Trek show. That's the other show we'll do when we're out of ideas before we do Marvel.
Uh-huh.
But something else that I want to bring up, he was in From Dusk Till Dawn, the Quentin Tarantino film, as an old-timer. And the one that everyone will know him from that listens to this, Kyle, he is one of the VPs at the Acme Corporation in Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Okay, I don't know that one, so...
You've not seen Looney Tunes Back in Action starring Brendan Fraser?
Why are you always surprised when I've never seen a movie?
It's because it's a Looney Tunes Back in Action. It's Looney Tunes from 2003, Brendan Fraser. Funnily enough...
Nathan, I've not seen The Mummy.
God. God almighty. Well, Kyle, there is an interesting tie-in to Looney Tunes Back in Action, Kyle. Brendan Fraser wants to be an actor. He's a stuntman. And his dad's gone missing, who was a famous actor who played a spy. But he actually was a spy in real life. And who plays his dad, Kyle?
Sean Connery?
Timothy Dalton.
Oh, close.
Right, so close. So close. And Mr. Zemo, or as he's called in Looney Tunes Back in Action, he's the VP for stating the obvious. That's what he's listed as.
Okay.
And that was his final film role in 2003 before dying in 2005. 95 years old he was. Just felt I need to bring this up. I told you I was going to grind this show to a halt just to bring this guy up for Star Trek references.
Don't worry, I can edit all of this out.
No, don't. You can't do that. You can't do that. This is class. You talk about how we've let people down and not telling you how Sean Connery was convinced to return. I've done this research.
Well, fair enough. We have to include some sort of research, I suppose.
Instead of talking about Sean Connery returning to Bond, I want to talk about a bit part character in this film and his legacy and career.
Anyway, so this guy, I guess he works for Tiffany Case.
Well, Tiffany Case isn't really the top of the pile. She's just like another.
She's not, but she's in this
operation.
room. She's in this room because Bond walks into the other room and she's there on the bed waiting for him. So I assume she's part of this scheme.
Oh yeah, she's definitely part of this scheme. Yeah, because they all, after getting rid of Plenty O'Toole, they all just leave, even though Bond's ready for a fight. It's like they got rid of Plenty just to reintroduce Case.
Yes. Tiffany Case is also a bonkers name. We haven't really lingered on it either. It's just a very strange name. It's not like a pun. It's just
they first introduce her as
Case.
They first introduce her as T Case, and she says the T stands for Tiffany.
Uh-huh.
I say maybe there's something I'm missing there.
Maybe
we're both just too innocent.
We're too modern. It's some sort of 70s joke.
Yeah, maybe that's funny shit they ever wrote, you know? And we're just like, what? We prefer the glowing tribute puns from Wint and Kid.
Plenty O'Toole, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Plenty O'Toole. I think what's funny about this is that when they kick her out, they kick Plenty out of the window, and then he goes in and starts talking to Miss Case. He doesn't care about Plenty at all.
No.
He does. This is like Binks. Remember her?
Nope.
From Goldfinger? Say hello, Bink. Say hello to Felix Bink.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just one of these ladies that mean nothing.
Yeah, which is all ladies to James Bond.
Oh, it was, but some have a purpose, you know? Information, usually.
I guess you can say that Tiffany Case has a purpose.
She definitely has a purpose, because she's like, you're basically going to die here, but maybe I could help it if you just tell me actually where the diamonds are, Bond. And they, like, sleep with each other, and then after they're finished, they're lying there smoking, and she's like, so you're really not going to tell me where they are, huh? Why did you sleep with them?
Like, peak 70s visual of that, with her with the cigarette and the ashtray on his chest. That's just, there's something so 70s about that vibe.
Oh, crazy stuff. Smoking's just a horrible habit and people shouldn't do it.
I agree with this message. I approve this message.
Don't smoke, kids. Don't smoke, kids. Smoking's really bad for you. But we then somehow agree that the diamonds are at the amusement arcade, I'm sure.
They're at the circus.
They're at the circus, yeah, they're at the circus. And Bond is going to go do something else, like get the car, whilst Case goes and shoots a clown's mouth to blow up a water balloon.
Well, yeah, because he's arranged with Felix this whole, like, little sneaky... Basically, they're doing the same thing now as Mr. White was doing to get all the diamonds. Now they're trying to do it to... I don't know why they're doing any of this. I do not understand what they have the diamonds. That's what they wanted, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think they're trying to snuff out the operation entirely.
But then you don't need to actually bring the diamonds do you?
Well, maybe that's their only motivation to letting you see anything else in the organisation. Because Bond, by the way, still hasn't blown his cover.
No, this is this is the classic James Bond tourism. This is all just Vegas tourism. What do you do in Vegas? You hit the casinos. There's probably like Cirque du Soleil in town. You go see a show of them.
There's big neon lights everywhere. It's in the desert.
It's Vegas tourism.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. And I think actually ever since I noticed that's kind of what these films serve us to do, it makes a lot of the kind of emptiness and just some of the visuals a little bit more in context. Lost to us now in the era of the internet, but back then, this is what got people to go gamble.
Mm-hmm.
But one of these kids, Kyle's very upset because he gets cheated, because Case doesn't care to play this shooting the water in the mouth of the clown to blow up the balloon game, and the guy's in on it because the diamonds are inside some sort of big teddy bear.
Yes.
He just blows up the balloon, and the kid sees that she just missed all of those hits and didn't do anything, and he's like, hey, don't you need to win 24 tickets to get the big prize? Like, aren't you, like, this isn't fair, she didn't do anything, I saw that lady. And the guy's like, hey kid, just gonna shut up and get on with it. That kid's growing up to be some sort of gambling commissioner.
Well, as this kid is yelling at Tiffany Case, she yells back at him, blow up your pants. Which is just a very strange thing to say to a 12-year-old.
It's like, go piss yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Is that what that means? Yeah, like, oh, go wet yourself, cry baby, or something. But when she leaves, she decides to go watch a gorilla show.
Oh, well, okay, this is some real dodgy stuff in here.
To go watch a racist show.
Yes, there's a racist show where they found like an exotic woman in the heart of the African jungles.
Yeah, or
And
something
it's
like
a
that.
black lady that turns into a gorilla, and I'm like, oh my god, this is not aged well.
Yeah, it's like a very lovely black lady in a black bikini, and she's in a cage, and they play music and swirl the lights, and there's an announcer going, "Oh, she'll turn to a gorilla, and she'll eat you, she'll eat kids," and there's all these people watching. You need to pay a ticket fare to get in, and yeah, they dim the lights and dim them back up, and out somebody in a gorilla costume, kind of going, pardon the pun, ape shit.
Yes.
In the enclosure, and everyone's screaming and running away and crying. And this is where Plenty decides to run out a fire exit, because I think she thinks...
Well, no, she is being followed, and she runs through the gorilla door.
Yeah, she does.
Apparently it links directly to the car park, so that's convenient.
Yeah, that's very convenient, yeah. This is the point where I decided to note this. I find it very funny that you flew out to LA to get to Vegas, but I guess in the 70s, this is how you had to do it. You couldn't just maybe fly out to Vegas.
They're very close. It's a few-hour drive.
Yeah, they're 2 states, so it's a state over, you know? Yeah. You could just fly right to Nevada these days, though.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Back then, this was just like a town in the middle of a desert because of some gambling laws that were holy.
I mean, that's still what it is, but it has an airport now.
Yeah, it has an airport now, yeah, you're right. This is our first post-moon landing Bond film, isn't it? Or is it not?
It is. Well, that's cutting ahead a bit, because...
This must be where I stopped taking notes for a while, because that's where my next note jumps down to. You continue, Kyle. Fill in the blanks.
Because... Oh, okay, hang on. I'm trying to remember how they get to the moon base.
It's in this like complex in the middle of the desert, because remember they start chasing Bond in the moon rover and they have little motorbike tricycle things.
Yeah, but like what happens between when she escapes from the casino from Felix Leiter's goons to then Bond works with her at a gas station to like sneak into a truck.
Yeah, because
like
Bond, they split up. She goes to the circus and he goes to hire a car of some description because he pretends to be the person here to test radiation or something.
Yeah, well, that's when he gets into the facility. I'm just trying to remember how he knows to go to the facility.
We're bad note takers, Kyle. We're bad note takers.
No, I think it's just a bad movie that doesn't communicate these things very well. I'm not blaming us. I'm blaming the movie for making a lot of this really unclear.
Yeah. I mean, okay. You're standing up for us, and I appreciate that.
But I do like the scene where he sneaks in because he's like, you would normally assume James Bond he would just knock this guy out and like take his clothes, but he doesn't. He sort of like walks up to him and pretends he's also an office licker. He's like, "Oh, I've never seen you around here before. You new here?" And
then he's like, "Oh, well, where's your radiation shield tag?" Because apparently that's how that works.
I think it's like a little Geiger counter.
Is that, yeah. It's not making creaky noises, which is, I guess, a blessing. But he's like, I've been waiting for you to send me one for weeks. And he's like, oh, you should have called. Oh, thank God I keep spares. Here, take mine.
Yeah, he's just a very nice and helpful man.
And Bond treats him with the same level of respect in return, doesn't beat him up.
Yes. He does steal his identity for a little bit, but...
Does he? I think it's someone else's identity he steals later.
No, it's that guy. It's the same guy. That's how he knows to go into the lab and say, like, I'm here to check the radiation shielding.
I see. I thought that's what he said to that guy who gave him the radiation checker in the first place.
No, that's what that guy was saying to him. And
right.
He goes and pretends to be him. So then that guy walks into the room as Bond leaves and says, oh, it's me. I'm here to do the radiation shielding. They all look at him like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah. Right, okay, yeah. I'm remembering this now, yeah. But we end up on some sort of fake moon landing set.
Yes, they're faking the moon landing. It's just a thing they throw in there and no one comments on it, that they're like clearly faking a moon landing.
Yeah, or is it for a film maybe? Is this also used as a film set? But why is the radiation stuff in here if it's a moon land, if it's a film set? Not clear at all. But
we get a great shot of Bond running across the moon, and for some reason the guys in the spacesuits, even though they're not on the moon, are acting like they're in low gravity, and they're like, no, he's too fast, we can't stop him. And
they're sort of like bouncing around.
Yeah. It's like, are they in some sort of gravity simulation suits? Yeah. What's going on here?
I do really enjoy, though, seeing Sean Connery in his full suit running across a moon surface, No spacesuit required. It is a very nice shot, actually.
He's very lucky that moon buggy, while being a fake moon buggy, does actually function. It's like a vehicle that works.
Despite being made for a low-gravity environment, it just still operates completely perfectly out in the desert. But I
It works
guess
better than all the cars.
it does. It works better than all the cars, 'cause all the cars are just losing bits left, right, and centre as they're going over rocks and stuff, which, you know what, fair enough. Good call. That's why they come out in some big off-road, big tyre tricycles, big wheels.
Yeah, they
you know?
probably should have invested in quad bikes for more stability, but sure, go with the big wheel tricycles.
Big wheel tricycles are more unique than quad bikes, you know?
Uh-huh.
Quad bikes are boring. 3 wheels are funny.
Sure.
And this is a funny
And this
film.
is a comedy.
Yeah,
yes.
this is a comedy.
And okay, well, yes, because we transitioned from the moon chase to then another car chase, this time in Tiffany Casey's chase car, and this chase lasts a very long time.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
But there's lots of bits in this fight as well. There's like this local police sheriff, and he's doing bits.
What bits does
Remember
he
this
have?
guy? Well, okay, there's a ridiculous scene where Bond is driving around a car park and getting so insanely lucky that all these cops keep crashing into each other.
I remember this, but at this point I'm thoroughly sort of passively watching the movie. There's parts of this movie where I'm super engaged, and other parts of this movie where I just couldn't care.
But there's a part where it cuts back to this local sheriff, and he's like, Larry, come in, Larry, and he turns to this guy, he's like, I think Larry got him.
Oh, yeah.
Good on you, Larry.
Yeah, I do remember that, actually. Yeah. Only if you hadn't said it, I wouldn't have, but yeah, it's coming back to me.
Yeah, but then Bond drives past him again, and they get back on the chase. And then Bond does what I honestly think is the most ridiculous thing Bond has ever done, which is he drives into a dead end, and he turns over to Tiffany Case and says, lean over to one side, and then he drives up a thing and manages to tilt the car perfectly balanced on 2 wheels and drive it through a tiny narrow crack in the wall.
That's some Han Solo shit.
It's ridiculous, and it's just a thing that goes, like, basically passively unmentioned. Like, yeah, of course you can do that. You can lean to one side and tilt the car over and carefully balance it. Sure.
I mean, well, listen, Kyle, it's so normal I didn't even think to write about it. Right?
It's not even a spy car. It's just like a regular car.
Bond turns every car into a spy car.
Okay, sure.
It's just something he can do. It's intrinsic to him. But after this, we do a wardrobe change, and then we end up back in White Towers.
Yeah, they rent a room in White Tower. And White House. It's the White House.
The White House, yeah. And
because
this is where we see Blofeld again.
Yes, they suspect that Mr. White is involved in this scheme somehow, so Bond, he climbs up the outside of the tower to investigate.
Yes, he does do that, yeah. Very strange shot.
And this is where we meet Blofeld again, because it's revealed that Mr. White... well, I thought it was revealed that Mr. White was Blofeld, but that's not actually the case.
No.
Blofeld is just posing as Mr. White.
He's posing as Mr. White and using his empire of contacts and capital to get the job done. They've kidnapped Mr. White or something.
They've sort of put him on permanent leave, like he's just on holiday and he doesn't know any of this is happening.
Yeah, they've put him in house arrest because they go to get him and he's like, hey, thanks, because remember he had Bambi and Thumper.
Bambi and Thumper. Oh yeah.
Not letting him
we'll get to Bambi and Thumper.
We'll get to Bambi and Thumper. Yeah, I can't wait to get to Bambi and Thumper. But when Blofeld comes in, he's like, oh, hello, Mr. Bond, it's nice to see you again. And then the other Blofeld shows up as well.
Yes.
Who I've coined as Fake Feld.
Yes, we have 2 Blofelds.
Yep. We've got 2 Blofeld. And you know what, actually, at no point do I question the effect. It looks fine.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The effect I do find kind of strange is he has like a voice changer thing. This is how he's posing as Mr. White. He has a thing that changes his voice into Mr. White's voice.
On the phone, yeah.
Yeah. But, surely that would be through the phone. But whenever we see it, we just see the person talking and someone else's voice coming out of them.
It's just difficult to translate, maybe, in the 70s.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't quite work as an effect or as a gadget, and it's like, I don't think this makes any sense. How is it changing his accent? That doesn't work.
They're using a Batman voice box changer in the neck.
Okay,
You know those little microphones that Batman has in his outfit that change his voice?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's exactly the same piece of kit that he has.
And it also gives him a thick Texan accent.
It gives him a thick Texan accent. You're right, Kyle. And I think that coming out of Mr. Henderson, Blofeld's face is very funny.
It's quite funny.
This austere...
It happens again when we get James Bond doing it and there's a mobster voice coming out of him.
Yes, it's very funny actually. So this double trouble of Blofelds, at one point they imply they literally are both Blofeld and one's not even a double because they're both kind of explaining the plan. And one of them's like, oh, I can't even remember who's the real one sometimes. And, he's not
I think that's just Blofeld messing with Bond.
Yeah, so do I. But, why are you allowing the other Blofeld to be so sort of on top of things and not like be deferential to you at all? Or are you just so happy that they're committing to the bit? Because apparently after Bond killed the other double at the start of the film, it's difficult to get volunteers to do this.
It seems like the kind of job where it would be difficult to get volunteers always, because, like, you know, when you're signing up to be someone's body double, your job is to die, right? You have
Pretty
to understand
much.
that.
Yeah.
That's what a body double is for.
You're getting paid incredibly handsomely until the day you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
like,
that money's maybe going to your family at best.
Yeah, at best. If at all. They would just take it all back.
Yeah. It seems like it'd be a job that's always hard to get recruits for, is what I'm saying.
Well, Bond makes a call, Kyle, on who he thinks the real Blofeld is in this moment, because a cat comes in and jumps onto the Blofeld sitting on the couch. And this Blofeld's actually kind of explaining the plan and saying, like, here's all our locations around the Earth. Like, there's like a map under the glass.
His classic Blofeld thing of explaining his entire plan to James Bond instead of just killing him.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't actually want to kill James Bond, Nathan. I think he likes a challenge.
I think he loves James Bond. I think he wants to be with James Bond forever. Didn't they try to recruit
his brother, Nathan?
Didn't they? Oh my god! No way! Get out of town!
You're right, Nathan. That would be really stupid, wouldn't it?
It's so silly.
I feel like something that Austin Powers would do.
That is such a comedy. Yeah, that's literally what Austin Powers does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny, brilliant. I hope we never have to talk about that again, though. But when Bond makes this judgment call to kill one of the blooded, he just like picks up a knife and like throws it at his face.
No, it's like the grappling gun he had. He shoots the grappling gun at him.
It's the grappling gun, yeah. But the effect's really out of time because it like hits him clearly and then he reacts.
Yeah.
He's like, hit. Oh! And then the other Blofeld at the table's like, wrong, Mr. Bond. And Bond's like, the wrong pussy.
Yeah, there's two cats.
There's two cats.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
The cat has a body double.
Yeah, there's a double cat, yeah, and they both got diamond collars on. The other one, the cat who was of the fake one that's just died, he just runs away, and the real cat sort of hisses at it as it runs by.
Yeah.
Like the cat's more evil than Blofeld. So Blofeld picks up a gun, it's like, go, get in the lift, Mr. Bond, leave.
Yeah.
Why?
And Bond just sort of does what he says, like a sad Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
He's got his head down.
Awkwardly shuffles his way towards the elevator.
Uh-huh.
And Blofeld just happy to let him go. It turns out it's actually because they're going to gas him in the lift, but not kill him. They're going to knock him out.
It's not even deadly gas.
No, it's not. It's so strange.
Because instead their plan is Mr. Kidd and Mr. Wynn, they pick him up at the bottom of the lift and they take him to a construction site in the middle of the desert where he then gets built into like a pipeline that's running under the desert.
Yep.
And apparently none of the construction workers noticed there was a body sitting in one of the pipes. It seems like pretty clear, but I guess no one thought to look inside the pipe before they installed it.
And one of the little pipe servicer robots is coming along. And
yes.
he jumps
Let
on
me
it.
tell you, Nathan, this is an effective construction site. If this kind of work was working in my local township, this would be months of work. But these guys, they get it done in an afternoon.
They get it done in an afternoon, yeah. They know how to build a pipeline out there, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But he sort of messes with the electrics to say there's a blockage to get it stopped moving.
Well,
so
Nathan, you're forgetting about the cameo of my favourite character, which is Bond makes friends with a rat.
Of course, yeah. Uh-huh.
And he says another classic Bond line, and he says, one of us smells like a tart's handkerchief.
Brilliant.
Just classy Bond. But then he smells himself, he says, I'm afraid it's me. Sorry, old boy.
Yeah, you're right. I remember all of this so vividly, I didn't even bother to note it down. Uh-huh.
Classic stuff.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm just having, like, overload. At that point,
there's a lot of quips in this movie.
Yeah, there's so much quips in this movie. This is the quippiest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that people didn't like this film.
Look, I don't think this is a particularly great movie. I think it's very silly.
Yeah, I think it's very silly too, but I can just take it at that level. Considering the deep introspective character study that Her Majesty's Secret Service was.
Oh, but this is such a pivot from the last movie. It's insane.
This is like we're going all in on the Connery stuff.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm surprised when I hear the stuff that maybe like From Russia with Love was his favourite movie, because I'm sure this is the film he had the most control over, surely.
I don't know about that. I feel like Connery seems like the type who'd want to take this character in a more serious direction.
Nah.
I think that's why From Russia with Love is his favourite, because that's like the most serious one he got.
I think you're right, but I think that could maybe change with time when you look back and go, damn, that was actually a good piece of work I done with that. But when you're sort of in it, you're just maybe wanting to have fun. And you just wanting to enjoy yourself.
Maybe that was his agreement. It's like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna fuck around the whole time.
Yeah, I'm doing bits and you're gonna record it.
I'm gonna talk to a rat.
Yeah, and you're gonna film it. Yeah.
I'm going to be more Scottish than in any other movie I've been so far.
Because
I'm going to call someone a tart.
Here's the thing. I think that Sean Connery's a very funny man.
Uh-huh.
And I think that they are leaning into it in this film in a way they kind of previously hadn't fully committed to. It's like in the Thor movies where they find out Chris Hemsworth's actually really funny. And they turn Thor into just a quip man.
Yes.
This is kind of what I feel they're doing here. I think they're also overcorrecting tonally from On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah. A little bit. Because there's also the bit where he steps out of the pipe and he's like, oh, I was just walking my rat and seem to have gotten lost.
Yeah. Because the two survey people were like, oh, it's your turn to go down the pipe. Whatever the guy's name is.
What is this pipe for? It's just an empty pipe that a robot runs through?
It's probably not finished yet. That's a survey device that I believe goes through the pipe to check for any imperfections in it. And it's probably going to be an oil pipeline, let's be real, for that era. Could be a water pipeline, but it's probably oil.
I mean, you say for this era, it's probably current. It would still be an oil pipeline.
Yeah, I suppose so. But we cut here to...
This is where he meets back up with Felix, right? And then they go and try and find Mr. White, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Because this is...
this is where Q is here. This is Q in the casino.
In my notes here, I have Bambi and Thumper, and then Q in the casino. So I'm presuming we do the rescuing Mr. White stuff first, and then we go to see Q in the casino.
Well, see, I have Q in the casino and then Bambi and Thumper, so...
Oh, God.
One of us is messed up in our notes.
I'm sure it's you, Kyle. Maybe they're maybe like they cut up the Bambi and Thumper fight with shots of Q as well. Maybe they're both happening at the same time. We'll do Q first, right? Because in my note here, I've just got Case calls Q and Mr. Q. And I was like, you're like Harley Quinn or something?
No, okay, sorry. There's two Q scenes. Because first is the scene where Q shows up in Vegas and he gives Bond the gadget that changes his voice so that you can call Mr. White.
And says he made one of these
yes.
for the kids for Christmas.
He made one of these for his kids last Christmas, yes. Which invites a lot of questions. First of all, is Q serious? Does he have kids? He seems like he would have kids. Because I have in my notes, I think Q would be a very nice grandpa. He seems like he'd be a fun grandpa to have.
I bet. I also agree. But considering how many decades he's remaining in this franchise for going on, he's surely still maybe a father at this age, but his kids are maybe in their teens, and he's like making a device and they don't care about it. So they're like, Dad, I want to go out to like the pub. And he's like, but Larry, I've made you this voice box.
It can make you sound like anyone in the world. I have this device that lets me cheat at gambling.
Well, yeah.
Stop, Dad. I'm going on a date.
Yeah.
Oh, you're worse than 007.
Sometimes I wonder if you really are my son. Yeah. But Case calls Q Mr. Q, and I just thought that was very Harley Quinn over to do that, you know? Hey, Mr. Q, it's you. You've got to help we got to help James, you know? And he's right, cheating.
That is after we run into Bambi and Thumper.
Yeah. Right, well.
So
let's talk about Bambi and Thumper.
Let's talk about it. So Bond goes to Mr. White. He has like a sort of summer resort house, basically. It looks kind of like the house that Tony Stark has.
Yeah,
it's like
so
this big
Miami
big house on a cliff.
Yeah.
And inside there are these two women, who are called Bambi and Thumper. One of them is like an athlete, like a sort of gymnast.
Yeah.
I guess they're both kind of gymnasts.
I think they are, yeah.
And they sort of pretend they're seducing James Bond, but then they start kicking the absolute shit out of
doing
him.
Cartwheels and spinning around poles and picking themselves up and just throwing their body weights around.
It's like, it's not even close. It's kind of amazing to see James Bond get his ass kicked so thoroughly.
Yeah, it's a thorough beating that he gets if it wasn't for like him being better in water.
For some reason, they throw him in a pool, and then they dive into the pool, and then Bond is immediately able to turn it all around, because he's Aquaman. He's stronger in the water.
He's stronger in the water, yeah. So, they're just thoroughly doing him in, and then they throw him into the pool. They're both drowning him, but then he's able to sort of overpower them, get up, and then as he gets up, he pushes both of them into the water and drowns them. And that's when Felix Leiter and the army show up.
Yes.
or something. And then that's where Mr. White shows up as well downstairs. And he's like, hey, and he's, what's going on?
Uh-huh.
And this is where everything gets explained to Mr. White. And then they send someone to try and kill Mr. White with a sniper rifle.
Yeah, it's one of the minor goons we've seen before in the movie, I think.
Yeah, it is.
When he gets shot, Mr. White's like, tell me he's fired.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Mr. White's just he's just a good old capitalist,
Yes,
he hasn't
Mr. White
actually...
is a real third wheel character at the end of this movie.
Yeah, it's like when they gave Bond another wife and You Only Live Twice.
Yes.
But he's actually a victim, even though he's the head of the corporation. He's sort of had his empire co-opted.
He's a completely sincere and honest owner of a casino. Yeah.
Yeah, which is just crazy. This is how they paint capitalists in the 70s, Kyle.
Yep.
And
I mean, this is the 70s. This is the age of capitalism.
Yeah, this is we're not quite in the footsteps of Reagan yet, but he's coming.
He's acting right now. He's out and working.
They're playing him in the movie theater next door.
They are.
But at this point, we've done the Q gambling. He's a gambling cheat. He has this device that can get the slot machines to fall in line whenever he wants.
And for some reason, Tiffany Case isn't interested in this. I would be so interested if this guy was explaining, I have this device that can make me win at slots every single time.
Plenty O'Toole would care.
We
didn't mention, by the way, that Plenty's dead.
Is she dead?
Yeah. So at one point, see, after the Gorilla show, just before the big long car chase, Kay shows up to somewhere like a house, and there's a lady who's been strangled and is chained to the bottom of a pool, and that's Plenty.
Oh, I completely missed this detail. Okay.
F Plenty. Yeah.
F Plenty, I guess. I don't know why she got murdered.
Plenty's that she knew too much.
She didn't know shit.
She got thrown out of a window. She's seen stuff is going on.
I guess.
Like, she's definitely going to be scarred after being thrown out of a window, so maybe she was asking questions at the wrong time.
But yeah, I just want to point out that Q, he is cheating at the slots, right? But it seems like he doesn't take any of the chips. Like, he's just doing it just to test his device. He's a completely sincere cheat.
Some people just want to watch the world burn. It's not about the money,
It's not about the money. He's just sincere in testing out his device, I think. He just wants to make sure it works.
Such a dweeb.
He is a dweeb, and that's why we love him.
I'd take the money as well. So, Case leaves, and there's a car waiting for her outside.
Oh, this is baffling. Yes.
So, the car door is open, and she's thrown in it by, like, a henchman. And there's Blofeld sitting there in full drag.
Yes! He's dressed like a fancy lady for some fucking reason.
Yeah, he's got the big winged glasses and the wig, and he's got, like, these flares everywhere.
It's never a dress.
Lipstick.
And the next time we see him, he's not dressed like this anymore. It's just for this one scene.
This one shot in the back of a car. Yeah, is it because they think if he goes out in public he'll be noticed or something? He's like high recognition?
Just put a hood on, Blofeld.
So I've got in my notes here that I'm calling him Mrs. Blowfire. It's just insane that he just gets in drag for this one bit. Now, I totally believe that the actor who's playing with him, who's Mr. Henderson, this is totally his thing. Now, this is just before the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but he was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, so, like, of course this is what he would be comfortable doing.
Right, okay. He just is a drag guy.
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't do drag in that film. He's in a suit the whole time. He's like an examiner, sort of retelling the story of what the events of that film. As I mentioned to you in You Only Live Twice, he's the guy in the time warp that says, it's just a step to the left. He's the proper fit and prime man that says the words, But if you're happy to be in that kind of production, I imagine you'd be happy to get into drag.
Yeah, but why in this scene in this movie, though?
Because if he goes out in public, he'll be noticed, Kyle, because he's a very famous criminal.
I would argue he's significantly more noticeable dressed as a woman.
No one's going to think that's Blofeld, Kyle. Would you expect Blofeld to get into drag?
Well, you got me there. No, I would not.
No, you would not. No, you would not. So it was the perfect disguise for Blofeld. And I burst out laughing. It's just for one shot. The camera doesn't even really change, I think. It's just this one fixed lock camera of him in the back of the car. Yeah. And then the car drives away, and he's out of costume for that enemy forever.
Yes. Well, this is when we introduce what Blofeld's plan actually is this time around.
Yes. Because it was starting to occur to me. I was like, so what are we doing? Yeah.
Yes. Somehow involving the diamonds. They don't make this clear until like the end of the movie, but the diamonds are involved in this. He has launched a satellite because Mr. White calls up his moon base. He's like, "Hey, what's going on over there?" No, he's not a gangster, he's a Texan. But yeah, he calls them up and the guy's like, "Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Mr. White. You never call me, I'm just a lab technician."
Hey, it's Mr. White on the phone for you. And he's like, "Oh, what? Such an honor."
But yes, Blofeld has launched a satellite, and then the satellite opens up, and Nathan inside the satellite is a giant space laser.
Made of diamonds.
Made of diamonds, and he starts blowing up all of the Earth's nukes.
I think, personally, this is like an allegory for Superman. World peace, you know? If Superman just went around and nuclear disarmed the world. This is the quest for peace. This is Superman 4.
Yes. This is quite a pivot for Blofeld, because Blofeld's usually just, I want money.
Well, but he is doing it for money, so they say that he's holding every nuclear nation hostage and having them do an auction, and the highest bidder gets to keep their nukes.
I see, okay.
But
he does
plan.
tell that other guy that world peace is his end goal, but I guess he was just lying to that guy, whoever that guy was.
I guess if you only have one nuclear superpower, you've kind of achieved that. Whatever they say is what you're going to do.
I suppose.
You know, like, what you're going to do? Pick a fight with a nuclear-armed nation? Is that nuclear-armed nation going to launch their nukes, or is everyone going to fall in line and do what they say? It's like bad world peace.
But then that nation is only going to do what Blofeld says, because otherwise they'll lose their nukes, right?
Yeah,
so really Blofeld is in charge of the world at that point.
Yeah.
Is that his plan?
Yeah, Blofeld's a bad guy, right?
Yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
right? Yes. I'm familiar with the concept of a villain.
But yeah, that's exactly what the plan is. I just don't know how he knows where Russian submarines are underwater.
Yes, that one's insane. He manages to laser a Russian submarine that's in motion underwater.
Yeah, I understand why he knows where the fixed US land-based ones are. You get some good satellite photography, you can probably suss that out. It's pretty good.
Also, as we learn later, the satellite has to be in the correct position to aim, so it has to line up properly. You can't aim the thing, it has to be in correct orbit or whatever.
Yeah, I imagine it's a bit like God's Eye or something like that, or even Golden Eye, some might say, where you just got to be in the correct time of day over the correct target.
So just the timing on that submarine is so that's some S tier level intelligence gathering.
I hope that person's good at trick shots. He would have loved Call of Duty.
Anyway, we are actually nearing the end of the movie at this point.
Yeah, we are.
Bond, he's with Mr. White, and they're just sort of sitting in his office, not sure what to do next. And he's like, "Okay, well, what assets of yours is he hiding behind?" And they start going through the list, and he's like, "I don't have a thing in Baja." But Blofeld, he's vain, so he had the model installed on the table anyway.
Yeah, to really commit to the bit for some... Yeah, it's vanity.
Yeah.
It is vanity.
But yeah, so he has his operation set up on a base, because what you need to use the space laser, it uses cassette tapes for some reason.
Yep, and it can be big cassette tapes, little cassette tapes, any cassette tape, it works.
Yeah, and I don't know how cassette tape translates to fire laser at a specific target, but apparently it does.
That's just how computers worked back then, right? Have you seen old-timey computers with these big walls with spools spinning round and round, you know?
I guess so.
I think that's just what they more mean, you know? Tapes are a core function of its operation.
Sure, okay. The point is it uses cassette tapes, because that's going to be very important later.
Yes, absolutely. Blofeld hates martial music, by the way.
Yes. Well, Bond, he lands in this thing in a big ball, and he gets out of the ball, and he says, "Good morning, gents. Pollution inspection."
I like that bit, yeah. He's full suit, you know, and everything. I think he's even got a little... Does he have a briefcase? I can't remember.
And Tiffany's here also. She's just decided to chill. She's just in a bikini on the oil rig.
Yeah, she's kind of picked a side, because she's full team Blofeld or so, we think.
Until she's not.
Until she's not, yeah. Mm-hmm. But they take Bond up to Blofeld, and they play this little tape that he's brought with him, and it is playing I think on it says British marching band tunes or something.
Yes.
And Blofeld actually plays it, and he's like, I do hate this kind of music. What? I thought this would be right up your alley, or maybe he's more into some more show tunes, you know, he likes drag, so.
Yeah, okay. But, okay. There's a bunch of mix-ups that happen here, so he manages to... No, okay. thingy, Tiffany Case, she picks up the cassette in secret and slips it back to Bond.
Yes.
Then Bond manages to flip them over so that now the martial music is in the machine.
Yep. And the
Right.
actual launching cassette Bond is now in possession of.
Yes, he's in possession, and then he slips it into Tiffany Casey's pants and he says, bitch. He calls her a bitch, which is just a bit weird. But then he follows that up with, your problems are all behind you now.
Yeah. And she decides to try and do the right thing and switch the tapes out because she doesn't know that he's already done it.
Yes. And she comes back to him all excited, like, oh, don't worry, Bond, I switched the tapes. And he goes, you stupid twit, you put the real Bond back in.
I've written that down, yeah. That is so funny.
It's just, that's why I say Bond is at his most Scottish in this movie. Because calling someone a stupid twit is such a Scottishism.
I think it's just a Britishism, to be honest. But yeah, it's...
I guess it is British, but it does sound very Scottish to me
I think
to call someone a twit.
in Sean Connery's voice especially, there's no English sort of hidden accent there, you know?
No.
He's all Scottish all the time. Good stuff. I'm very happy.
Yeah, no, this is where, like, Tiffany Casey's role in this movie is just to, like, cause problems at this point.
Run around in underwear, because...
Yeah.
Like, Blofeld starts making comments about her underwear and stuff because he sees the tape in it at first.
No, yes. He's like, you're showing more cheek than you were before,
Yeah.
Or Miss Case.
Too much cheek or something like that, yeah.
Such nice cheeks, too. If only they were brains, he says to one of his goons.
He does say that, yeah, you're right.
Because as we see, this is sassy Blofeld with singers.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I'm not clear. So Blofeld, there's like a guy working for him that's like, the army's here because there's like a big helicopter fight and this oil rig's got anti-aircraft guns.
He's like the chief of the oil rig or something.
Yeah, he's
I
like,
don't know.
Blofeld, we've got to shut this operation down and leave now because look, we're all going to die. You know, this is it, his game up. And he's like, no, you'll keep going or like, I'll kill you or something. And then he subtly is like, you know, telling the man on like the microphone, like, ready my submarine, one-man sub, whatever it's called. It's a special name.
Yes, his battle sub.
Yeah, but it's not like a one-man little speeder sub or something. It's very Star
it
Wars,
looks like a
actually.
spaceship. Yeah.
So he gets in it and he's ready to go and he's communicating with the crane that's going to lift him over and in. He doesn't bring his cat with him, which surprised me. Dr. Evil would have brought Mr. Bigglesworth.
He would have, yes.
And he's communicating with the crane, and then Bond takes control of the crane and then just starts throwing Blofeld's submarine around and swinging.
He just starts trolling Blofeld, yeah.
He's just like knocking him into every single building he can actually be within range of, and he crashes them into the control centre. I'm not clear what happens to Blofeld at this part of the film.
No, Blofeld kind of disappears at one point. I think he blows up, maybe.
Does he? Because it just feels like to me they're swinging around that submarine, which we know Blofeld to be in. Then the submarine kind of just crashes into the wall, and then the movie kind of moves on from him, and we never go back to
we
him.
just don't cut back to Blofeld.
Yeah,
yes, I agree. Yeah. It does seem extremely unclear.
Yeah, it's just, he's just gone now. We never confirm his death. He's just no longer relevant. We've destroyed the base.
There is another fun bit with Tiffany Case, though, where she comes out to Bond on the crane, and he says, grab the gun! And so she grabs it and tries to hand it to him, and he says, no, shoot them! And so she tries shooting at them, and then she just shoots straight up into the air, and the recoil backs her off, and she falls off the oil rig. And you know what? You know what, Nathan? That's probably what I would do if I picked up a machine gun as well. So, fair enough.
If you picked up a machine gun, you would try and hand it to Sean Connery?
Yes, I would, because what am I going to do with it? I don't know how to shoot a machine gun.
Maybe he should have given her control of the crane. You know?
Well, there is a point now where he's done all this stuff with Blofeld, he turns to her and says, jump, and then he notices that she's not there anymore.
So she's ahead of the curve, really.
But then, Nathan, he does an eagle dive off the edge of the oil rig, like a full-on Assassin's Creed eagle dive.
He hit a sink point, yeah. Brilliant. And does the whole base blow up? I'm not clear.
Yes, it does, yes.
So everyone's dead, essentially. And then we do like a cut to them getting on a cruise to head home. And it's White or Felix that are like speaking to Bond from the edge of the ship, being like, you know, we'll tell London that's you heading home now, Bond. And he's like, just don't tell them which direction we're going. And then they're like, you know, if you're having an extra good time, I'll be sure to tell the captain to just start going round in circles for a while. Yeah,
this is White's cruise liner, because White's the good billionaire.
Yeah, White's a nice philanthropist, apparently. And down in the lower decks of the ship, we look through the porthole windows, and there's Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
They're just staring through the windows.
Just
yeah.
like a couple of right creeps. Looking at people on land. They're not even looking at Bond.
Yeah, I guess we didn't describe what the two of these guys look like. They do look like weird, like, creeps.
One of them looks like the
One
dad
of
of Crispin Glover, and the other one really does
Yes.
look like I've seen you in a sex offenders list.
Yes, one of them has, like, the bowl cut. He's, like, the sort of more, like, sort of well put together, creepy one.
That's Mr.
The other
Wint.
guy, he has, like, this long balding hair and these little round glasses and a mustache.
Yeah, that's
He's a
Mr.
very
Kidd.
creepy looking man. Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy together, yeah. So, Bond and Case are lying on the deck of the ship. And by the way, I'm just back a cruise, so I felt this all very nostalgic. And they're lying there and they're looking at the sky and they're talking, and I think she wants to ask him something and he's like, oh god, this is going to be like, oh, I love you, let's get married or something like that. And he clearly is not interested. But before he gets to ask, knock knock, room service, compliments of Mr. White. He demands all these lovely things we brought to you, and they're like, there must be some mistake. He's like, no, this is all Mr. White's decision, a little treat for you. And they have a bomb and a cake.
Yes. They have a bomb and a cake.
And it's hollowed out.
It's like a bomb It's like a bomb souffle or something like
Yeah,
that.
no,
I
it's
can't
it's
remember
called
the exact
something.
words.
It's called
Yeah.
something surprise, and they go, "What's in it?" He goes, "Well,
Yeah.
that would spoil the surprise, wouldn't it?" It's a bomb, They're going to commit an act of terrorism on this ship and kill a lot of innocent people.
But the bomb isn't actually how Bond catches them out,
No,
which is funny.
they get their-
He catches them out with his age-old, well-established, very good knowledge of liquor.
Yeah, because earlier on in the movie, he gets the vintage of sherry, right? And M is like,
Yes.
there is no year on a sherry. And he goes, yeah, but the original brew that it's come from does have a year. And the guy that gave him it's like, he's correct. And, M's fuming because he can't drink sherry at the moment, doctor's orders.
Yeah, he has some sort of liver problems,
Yeah,
yes.
so this is a cute callback to that, I guess. And within the context of the language of this film.
This is the thing in all these movies is Bond knows his liquor. We've,
yeah.
we've talked about this before.
Yes, I know. I just mean within the language of this movie, isolated from the franchise, that's a callback to that, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly that, though. It's just like, I expect a pinot or whatever with a meal like this.
And they go,
I
oh,
can't
sorry.
remember. I don't know alcohol.
Sorry, the galley's all out. And then Bond looks at him and goes, this is what that is. I was testing you or something like that.
Also, I recognise your aftershave from when you knocked me out that one time.
Yeah, he does recognise that aftershave. Yeah, it smells awful. So, Mr. Kidd decides to put the shish kebabs he has on fire.
Yeah, he picks up two flaming shish kebabs and starts slowly and menacingly walking towards James Bond.
With them both just like at elbow height pointing forward. Like he's not like doing anything interesting with them.
Yeah, you remember what happened in Indiana Jones when Indiana Jones picked up a flaming shish kebab? He threw it because it's a throwing weapon.
Yes.
And he impaled that guy with it.
Mr. Kidd's worried about his hair.
I guess so, yeah.
So, Bond very quickly disarms Mr. Kidd and it just stabs him with the shish kebabs and he catches...
No, he throws the wine at him so that he catches fire.
Yes, you're right. And Mr. Kidd, completely in a blaze, jumps overboard into the water.
Yes, great stunt work.
Great stunt work for Mr. Kidd. And then Mr. Wint gets the bomb shoved up his ass.
Well, no, he gets his arms tied and then pulled back, and then his crotch gets crushed, and then he makes a very silly face when his crotch gets crushed.
Yes, he does. And then he gets
because he's one of those lippy guys, Nathan, who likes those sort of things. As you see.
Oh God. Well, he is kicked off overboard by Bond with the bomb attached to his body. And the bomb
he blows up in midair.
Goes off as he hits the water or something like that, yeah. And Bond's like, oh, sent away with its tail between his legs. You know?
A+ work, Bond.
A+ work. So, but Case and Bond kind of just go back to chilling, I guess.
Yes.
And she goes, well, I never got to ask you that question. And he's like, all right, okay, what is it? How did we get those diamonds back down there? And you see up in the sky and the space laser's still up in space.
Yeah.
We've actually not resolved the situation that much.
No, the space laser hasn't been blown up or anything. We destroyed the control room.
Yes.
But they could probably build another one.
I think so. So, that's kind of how the film just ends, with
That's how the film ends.
Bond
we
and
cut
Case
back to,
looking up at the space laser.
Yeah, we get sung out by Shirley Bassey.
We do. Gorgeous stuff. Amazing song. The motif they use of that song for the film's really effective as well. I quite like the
It's good, yeah.
do 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 do. It's gorgeous, yeah. And then we get all the credits, and at the end of the credits, we get the end of Diamonds Are Forever. James Bond will return and live and let die.
Mm-hmm.
Connery won't though.
Yeah, well, okay. I guess we should give her a retrospective on the Connery era now that we're at the end.
I
shouldn't
think we should, personally, yeah. I know we've got one more coming, but that's like a special case, you know?
Yeah,
This is Connery's era done.
yeah. It's okay. My memory is more hazy of Roger Moore era. I know that Roger Moore gets even more silly in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but the Moore era is really iconic to people of a certain age group or people that watch the movies at a certain point in their life. I've not seen every Moore era film. I know I have not, but I kind of think that as they go along, they get a bit kookier, and I remember finding them just a little bit too dandy for me. We'll see.
I think it's hard to beat Connery, and like he's very like perfect for this role of what it's trying to do.
Yeah,
I think is fair to say.
Absolutely.
At the same time, I think that this version of James Bond works best in the 60s, and I think by the time we get to the 70s, it's starting to feel a bit like he's getting a bit old for this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we've already had the high point. This is certainly not one of the best Connerys. I think it's definitely the funniest. But this is I know people didn't seem to like this movie. They thought it was a bit stupid.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention this is the lowest critical rated movie we've done so far.
Yeah. I think had Connery done On Her Majesty's Secret Service and then not returned for Diamonds Are Forever,
it would be a better send off.
No, I think it'd been a worse send off because it would have been it would have been a less interesting film to go out on because people don't really like that movie that much. I know its critical score is higher than this, but this movie's just I prefer this movie. I'll tell you now, Kyle. This movie's more engaging. I think the pacing of On Her Majesty's Secret Service is just a bit slow.
There is no skiing in this movie.
There's no skiing in this movie, I'll give you that, you know. You Only Live Twice was a perfectly good one to end on as well. I actually think Connery could have got out of this franchise fairly unscathed.
Oh yeah, like, I don't think... None of his movies are awful. Like, there's none that are like, oh my god, that was like... Thunderball I didn't love. And you seem to like Thunderball. I didn't like
I like
Thunderball.
it more than you. I think all the water stuff's very boring.
Like... Obviously, there's some stuff with Sean Connery Bond, like how obviously sexist he is, which we kind of view as cutesy. Almost, it's like beyond the point of being a problem at this point.
Yeah,
of like, oh, it's the 60s. Like,
we're just like treating it as a product of its time and kind of just slapstick laughing at it because we just know how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, which part of it I almost wonder if like was intentional at the time too. I don't know. Because obviously these movies are very heightened.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to maybe be like exactly a heightened expression of maybe how people felt. It's the kind of thing where Bond would make a really sexist, over-the-top joke, but then the two guys watching it in the cinema with their two dates would like nudge each other and go, hey, ain't that the truth, you know? Hey. Yeah,
that's what I mean, yeah.
Whereas now... me and you can very easily acknowledge, this is aged. But we're laughing at it for its absurdity in a way that I think back then, despite it being heightened, people maybe wouldn't see as absurd.
Yeah, maybe so.
But I mean, you're right though, they just such good casting of Sean Connery. He nailed the character, and you could say, well, he got to define what it is, so we're kind of maybe judging it.
Yeah, I mean, there is books, which I've never read,
but
I assume because this is one of the ones that's a book as well.
Yes, Ian Fleming, yeah.
Ian Fleming,
yeah. He wrote these. And yes, I haven't read the books, but this is one of those things where it's sort of death of the author, death of the source material. People treat Bond as just this icon of British cinema. We don't really think of him as a
novel character.
Yeah, a novel character, yeah. He's not like Sherlock Holmes, where people very much are still aware of Arthur Conan Doyle's works. Mm-hmm. More people are watching these movies than they are reading Ian Fleming's books.
By a long shot.
By a long shot, right? And there's still lots of people who are maybe now in their 50s and 60s that were children. They were born in the 50s and 60s, and they maybe through the 70s grew up watching Moore, but they would see Connery on the telly and they loved that. So I think people have a really close connection with Connery for the franchise. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, I initially kind of thought, he's the iconic one, right? But I kind of I didn't really care. I was sort of just ambivalent, I guess. Take it or leave it. But I actually,
this will come eventually. But our Bond is obviously Pierce Brosnan. That's the one we grew up with.
Our Bond is Brosnan. I have a lot to say for Brosnan when we get to him. I love Brosnan, but I actually think I really, really like Connery now in a way that maybe beforehand I just didn't really. I was like, yeah, of course, he's the iconic Bond. He started it. Like, of course, he's iconic. He's the icon of the franchise. It kind of went.
He's definitely. And we talked about this with Lad. He's not the most, like, human Bond, but I think that works for him. As I've joked many times, he is a sociopath.
Yes.
But
he deserves to die. He's an awful agent.
But that is the character that he's playing.
Yes. Isn't it just? And this was a buff, slender, slim muscle man for the time, Kyle. This was your Chris Evanses of the 60s.
There is a shot where he's his shirt off, and it's like, oh, look at this sexy man. Yeah.
Look at this gorilla body hair.
Body hair's making a comeback, Nathan. Don't you?
Sorry, no, I know. Sorry, I shouldn't say that to you.
This is how trends in fashion work. As soon as something becomes peak, like it just flips back and forth and back and forth again.
Mullets are coming back these days as well, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mullets and long hair is back in. Yeah. Thank Keanu Reeves for that.
Keanu Reeves for that one. Yeah. Okay. Maybe he should play Bond. No, we won't have a bloody foreigner, Kyle. Playing her. I know Lazenby was Australian or from New Zealand. Keanu Reeves isn't Canadian, is he?
Keanu Reeves is Canadian. Yeah,
yes, sure, he can do it then because he's part.
I know he plays like the Canadian Evel Knievel in Toy Story, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, if he's Canadian, he can be Bond, and that's actually fine. Yeah.
All the best actors are secretly Canadian. It's a known fact.
What are you talking about, Sean Connery? You know, huh? Well, yeah, sure. Keanu Reeves can do it because he's part of the British territories and all that. That's perfectly
part
fine.
of the Commonwealth. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, Pierce Brosnan's Irish, but we'll give him a pass because he was the one we grew up on, and we can make an exception because we're compromised.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Sean Connery. You were wonderful at this, and we may have one more outing with you to come in the future, but it's not canon, and it's like a studio license, not fan film, but also maybe a fan film. It's going to
be fun to talk about. I've never seen it.
I know that
it has Rowan Atkinson in it somehow.
And Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
It's Never Say Never Again is the title of the movie, and it's basically a remake of Thunderball without Spectre.
Great.
Yeah, well, there's
my favourite Bond movie.
Weird. Yeah, well, that's kind of why they chose that one, I think, because they wanted to kind of just redo it. And there's also a whole... We've spoken before about Bond's licensing issues and stuff, and we'll get to it when we get there. But Spectre kind of disappears from this franchise in a big way for a long time. That's why you never see Spectre with like Timothy Dalton or Pierce Brosnan at all. They're never even referenced. And they kind of accidentally got them back during Daniel Craig's era, and we're like, we're going to make one about Spectre.
Quick. We have to use Spectre.
Yeah, they kind of rushed to do it because that was the first time they had the rights since like halfway through Roger Moore's tenure.
Yeah. Even though Spectre, we'll get to that when we get to Daniel Craig, but Spectre does not make sense for that universe.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, why don't you sing us out?
Yes, well, Nathan, where can the people find you on the internet?
Kyle, the people can find me online on social media hosting services, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky. I'm quite enjoying trying to use more Blue Sky. I do run the Twitter account for @NameNoteIncluded, which is where I post all of our episodes there. And if we get some more traction there, try using that account more. Try and post occasional Bondy GIF. You know what? There's always a GIF for the title card of every Bond film, at least so far that we've done, and that just makes it really fun for posting, you know?
It does make it convenient.
It does make it very convenient. I've been enjoying that. And obviously in Kyle's comment sections from time to time. Not been there recently, but I've been avid watching. I watched Kyle's most recent Assassin's Creed video on a plane ride. That was good. An hour and 11 minutes. I'm glad
it could keep you company.
Thank you. Yeah, an hour and 11 minutes, Kyle, that video was. And for a 4.5 hour flight, that done just nice. I was watching some Daredevil as well. And I had one friend to my right, one friend to my left, and I had one friend right in front of me.
Oh,
look at that.
Well, of course, you can find that Assassin's Creed video and be friends with me and watch all my other stuff at Kyle the Scott on YouTube, where I do video essays and game critiques. I'm also on some of those other social media platforms as well. And you can find our entire backlog where we've been through all of the Snyderverse, all of the X-verse, all of Sean Connery's James Bond films, except for the one which we'll do later.
Plus Lazenby.
And the last thing to say is thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time for Live and Let Die.